the 9th of June today. We've just had 2 days of thunder, lightning and pouring rain. The plants have loved it, but unfortunately so have the weeds. So the weeds have grown phenomenally, which is very annoying. So I need to get and sort those out. But I'm on the allotment for most of the day today, which is fabulous, and it's not supposed to rain today, which is even better. So the first thing I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to plant my runner beans out. Now I sowed these in the middle of May, and I usually plant them out about 3 to 4 weeks after I've sown them, because then they're sort of about that sort of height, about sort of 9 inches or so. If you sow them too early, then they just get all spindly and they're very, very difficult to move. So I've tried and tested that, and I would suggest that you sow them about 3 to 4 weeks before you're going to plant them outside in the ground. Make sure that all frost has gone in your area before you sow them out, because frost will kill runner beans and French beans, because they're tender crops. So let me just show you how they're getting on. They're doing really well. I've actually got 4 trays. Not all of the seeds have come through though, but let me just show you. They're all they're wet. They're all about that size. So they're doing really well. If you look, let me show if you can see that. If you look in there, that's a root system of one of them. Now most of these I sowed 2 seeds. I'm going to have to move my leg over because it keeps dripping on me. I sowed 2 seeds per pot. I won't separate these out. I will plant both of these together up one cane. So they tend to do really quite well if you do about 2. If you want to do 1, then just do 1, but I've got quite a few, so I'll do 2. So let me show you how to do these. Now you need to grow these because they're climbing ones. You need to grow them up a structure, whether you want to do a wigwam or whether you want to do a long structure. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to grow my runner beans up a wigwam, but when I do my French beans I'm going to grow them on a long structure. So let's get on and put our sticks in. Now the first thing you need to do is you need to turn over the bed, dig down as far as you can and remove any weeds, and then you can start putting your sticks in. Now it depends on the size of your wigwam. If you want to put more sticks in each wigwam, it's entirely up to you. The more sticks you put in, the bigger your wigwam has to be across. Now I'm going to do 6 because I'm using these little things. They're brilliant. I got these from Betterware several years ago. It's a little, for those of you who don't know, they come around and they put like a little magazine through and you can order stuff. And these are great for putting your beans in. There are smaller holes here if you've got smaller sticks and want to do peas, but they're absolutely brilliant. So you just thread them through the top and then sort of bring it down, and it holds it nice and securely, which is great. Now when you put your sticks in, they need to be about 9 inches apart from each other, and you need to push them in as far as they'll go, because remember, these beans will get very, very heavy, and if your structure isn't secure, then it will fall over from the weight of the beans. So try and get your sticks down as far as you possibly can, maybe about 1 foot if you could. These sticks themselves are the long ones. They're about 8 feet tall or about 10 feet tall, I can't remember. I think I'm going to have to go and buy some more because I don't think I've got enough. So they will really need to be in as far as you can possibly get them. Now I think that's about as far. It still wobbles a bit, but it's actually quite a sturdy structure, which is good. So now those are in, now it's time to start planting our beans. Okay, so dig a nice hole. If you do find any more weeds, just remove them. A nice deep hole, and get your bean. As I say, I'm going to plant 2 plants per stick. Some people plant them on the inside, but I find it's very difficult to get to them. I plant them on the outside and sort of lean them in ever so slightly. So get your plant, hold your plant securely and tip them out of the pot. Now hopefully you can see there are lots of lovely roots on here, some very thick ones, and they're sending out little ones on the side, so these are doing really well. So I will place these in the hole. They're slightly lower than they were in the pot. This again will make them a little bit more sturdy when they're growing up. So I've got the stick between the two plants here, and then all you need to do is to fill in round the plants and just give them a nice firm in. So I'll carry on and I'll do the rest of the ones round this wigwam, and then I'll come back to you when I'm done. Right, so there's one little wigwam done. I've got 2 plants per pot. All I need to do now is to give them a water, wait for that water to soak through, and then you need to protect them from slugs and snails. The slugs and snails will invade these like there is no tomorrow, and if you don't protect them very well, then they will get eaten and you'll come back the following day and the whole lot would have gone. Okay, so whichever way you want to protect them is entirely up to you. So that's one lot done. I've still got lots more to do, so I'd better get going. Right, that's all the runner beans in. I'll have to do the French beans hopefully tomorrow because I've actually run out of long sticks, so I need to go and buy some more. First of all, I need to figure out how many I need, and I hope that where I get them from they actually have some. So anyway, we'll see. But that's the runners in. The French will have to wait until tomorrow. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plant out some lettuce. Now I usually sow lettuce from seed and then pick the leaves off as and when I need them. But I thought I would do 2 types this year. I would do some like that, and others I would grow, pot up and then plant out and harvest the entire thing. So the lettuce that I've got here, it was a mixed packet, so they're all sorts of different varieties. There's one, there's another one, there's another one. I've got about 10 here, I think, or maybe a few more actually, but there's loads. They're doing really well. They're great. So what I thought I would do is I'd let these ones get to their full potential and then harvest them as an entire lettuce. So so I can sort of have a gap between the runner beans and the French beans. I'm going to sow a row of these lettuce, and it'll make it look nice as well. So I will give a gap of about 6 inches between the beans and the row of lettuce, and then hopefully they'll all fit in this entire row. You don't need to plant these too far apart from each other. I would most probably do them again about 6 inches apart from each other. Because they grow on the top, they don't need a huge amount of space to grow. If you then suddenly decide that you just want to pick the leaves as and when, then you can. You don't have to wait for them to grow to their full potential. So let me show you how I'm going to plant these. Okay, so like before, make sure that you dig over the soil just to remove any weeds that have grown through. Okay, oh, there we are, there's a bit of couch grass, not couch grass, bindweed, don't want that. Okay, so I'm not going to sow these plant these out in any particular order, just as and when I come to them. If you want to do them in a very specific order, then please feel free to. So all you need to do is to dig a nice deep hole, about the same depth as the pot, maybe a little bit deeper, but not much. Alright, because when you put these in the soil, you need to put them at roughly the same height that they were in the soil. You don't put them too deep. Alright, So if you've made your hole too big, too deep, then just add a little bit of soil. So pop your plant in and then just fill in round it, firm it in, and then leave about 6 inches and then plant the next one. So I'll carry on, and I think I've done that hole too deep again. I'll carry on, and when I'm done I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, there they are. There's 11 lettuce there, lots of different varieties. All I need to make sure that I do now is give them a thorough water in, and then also make sure that you protect them from slugs and snails, because they will find them very, very tasty. Right, well, what I'm going to plant out now are the squashes and the pumpkins that I sowed. I've got a lovely selection of them. Some have grown better than others, but I'm hoping that even the small ones, once they're out in the ground, that they'll start to grow beautifully. I've got 2 beds here. I don't think I won't get all of them in here, but I've got a bit more space over there. And I'm sure I'll find some more space over there somewhere. Otherwise I'll have to dig up this path, but I'm sure I'll get them in somewhere. But let me just show you how they're getting on. These ones are, what are these ones? Oh, there's the label. These are the Caspian pumpkins, these ones here. These are the baby leaves here, which have gone yellow, which is absolutely fine. And then these are the true leaves. If you look very carefully here, you can see that the flowers are starting to form. Now, with your pumpkins and your squashes, make sure that all frost has gone in your area before you plant them out. Otherwise, the frost will kill the plants, and therefore you won't get any fruit. Pumpkins and squashes do need quite a bit of space between one plant and another, and beware that they travel. So you can keep them confined, but it can be a little bit on the tricky side, so just be aware of that. Make sure you give them more space than you think they need. You'll need to plant the plants. I tend to plant them about 18 inches apart from each other. If you want to do further, then by all means feel free. I had so many butternut squash last year. I think I had 22 or something like that. You may remember the slightly phallic ones. Whether I get any more of those this year, I don't know. But they did amazingly last year, so hopefully they'll do really well again this year. So let me show you how to plant them out. Right, so I'll just do these 2, just show you these 2, and then I'll carry on and do the rest. Make sure that the bed you put them in has been turned over and is weed free. I did do this a couple of weeks ago, but as I say, we've had all this rain, so the weeds are starting to grow again. So I'll just give it a quick turn over like this. There we go. If whatever pumpkins and squashes you're planting out, do them in exactly the same way as I'm going to show you now. So dig a nice big hole like this, and then get one of your pumpkins, or well, one of your plants, and just put your fingers either side of the plant just to protect it. Turn it upside down, squeeze the plant or squeeze the pot, and it should pop out nice and easily. Now you can see all these roots here, they're doing really well, so they're ready to go out into the ground. Put it in the hole, and you want to plant it just a little bit lower than it was in the pot, so make sure some of the soil actually goes over the top here. So just fill round it like that. If you do, as I've done, buried the baby leaves, don't worry, it doesn't matter. And then just give it a smooth round like this, and then I'm going to plant the next one about 18 inches apart, which will be about there, I would guess. I'm not quite sure if that's actually in the shot, but take my word for it. Okay, and I'll put that one in here. And then all you need to do then is you need to water them in thoroughly and then protect them from slugs and snails. You'll only have to protect them from slugs and snails this once, because once they get big enough then the slugs and snails won't attack them, because you find this with courgettes as well. The stems are actually ever so slightly spiky. So the bigger the plant, the spikier and hairier the stem is, and the slugs and snails don't want it because it's too spiky and too uncomfortable to eat. So usually you only have to protect them from slugs and snails at this first point when you first put them in, otherwise they'll be absolutely fine. So I'll carry on. I'll see how many I can get in this bed and I'll come back to you when I've filled it. Right, there are some of them in that one bed there, and here are the other ones. Now these few down here, there's 5 of them. They're very tiny. They just don't seem to have grown particularly well. The leaves haven't developed properly, but I've put them in because I'm hoping that maybe they'll sort of blossom now that they're in more soil. But they've been watered, but they're all the same variety, so I'm wondering if maybe I had a bit of a duff packet. I'm not quite sure. Last year I got exactly the same packet. They were the mixed squash. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, so I'll just see. I'll keep an eye on them. I'll give them lots of TLC and hopefully that'll work. But all I need to do now is I need to give them a good water in. Even though we've had a lot of rain, you still need to give them a good water in, and then I need to protect them from slugs and snails, just for sort of this, once this first lot of slugs and these first lot of pellets have disappeared, then I doubt very much whether I'll have to do again. So I need to do that, and then I'll see what else I can do. Right, well, I found another couple of pumpkins. These are actually Atlantic Giants. I had those in the greenhouse, hidden down the bottom, so I missed those. So I'm going to put these in as well. So hopefully I'll get some nice big pumpkins. If you do have Atlantic Giants, you will need to space these as far apart as possible. I would suggest, if you can, about 1 metre apart from each other, and then they've just got loads of space to grow. But they will spread, so do be aware of it, and they will take lots of feeding. So they're not for the faint-hearted, our Atlantic Giants, and hopefully we'll get a nice big one. So I'll dig a nice big hole for it. They need lots of food as well, lots of feeding. I had a load of manure in here, so they should be quite happy. The roots are doing brilliantly for these Atlantic Giants. They're all around, so I'll put that in. I'll firm it round, firm it in, give it a good water in, and protect it from slugs and snails. I've got 2, so I'll sort those out, and then I think I'll have some lunch. Right, the next thing I'm going to plant out today is the kale. Now you can get 2 varieties of kale. You can get the shorter kale or you can get the tall kale. I usually grow the shorter kale. It's called dwarf kale, and we tend not to eat it ourselves, and you'll most probably be thinking, then why on earth does she grow it? I grow it for the chickens, because the chickens absolutely adore it. So that's why I grow kale, because for my little girlies. So I sowed these from seed, and then I potted them up, which I showed you, and they've been sitting in the greenhouse for a little while, and now they're at the stage where they're about 5 inches tall, I guess. And they're ready to go outside, so it's time to get them out. Now I've got a nice little bed over here which I've just weeded. It wasn't that bad, but it just had a few bits and pieces in it. Turn the bed over, and I'm going to plant these fairly close together because I want to get them all in this one bed. It's a fairly small bed, so I've got 18 plants. There's 9 in each tray, so that's 18. 3, 6. Oh no, maybe I haven't got. Oh, maybe we've got 17. Well, that's okay, that doesn't matter. I'll do 3 by 6 and then have a little space left over. So I wouldn't normally sow them quite that close together. I would give them about 9 inches between each plant, but they're most probably going to get about 6 inches, but because they're dwarf ones it doesn't matter. If you're growing the tall ones, I would suggest that you plant them definitely 9 inches apart from each other, maybe a little bit further. So let me show you how to plant these out. Right, so as I say, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 3 by about 6. So dig a nice hole for the plant to go in, turn it upside down, and hopefully the pot should come off very easily. There's some lovely roots here. The roots have grown really well since I put them in the 3-inch pot. Now I'm going to put them in the hole, and I'm going to plant them a little bit lower than they were in the 3-inch pot, and this will give them a little bit more stability when they grow. We say that they're dwarf ones, but they still can grow up to about 18 inches tall, so they need as much stability as you can give them. Okay, so there's one, and then I'm going to go along this line, so I'll put another one there, I'll put another one there, so they'll be about 6 inches apart from each other, and I'll most probably, because I've got to do 6, I expect these will be 6 inches apart from each other as well. They won't mind being a little on the close side. It doesn't worry them at all, but as I say, if you're growing the taller ones, make sure that they're much wider apart. So I'll carry on, and when I've done all of these, then I'll come back to you. Right, well there they are. There were 17 of them. There was 9 in one tray and 8 in the other. Now what you need to make sure that you do is that you need to protect them from the slugs and snails at the bottom. I also now need to cover them with a net as well, because the birds will enjoy them as well. So these poor little brassicas again will get hit from both directions. Once the plants get a little bit bigger, then they won't be bothered by slugs and snails because they'll be too big. But for now, I need to make sure that I protect them from both. Give them also a good water in as well, and hopefully in a few weeks' time they'll be growing really well and be quite substantial. Right, well that's been a busy day down on the allotment. I've got a little bit longer left here, but I think all the rest of the stuff that what I'm going to do for the rest of my time here is to do some weeding, because with all that rain we seem to have got lots and lots of weeds now that are growing up. So clearly I'm not going to show you that because that's quite boring, but yes, lots done today. I need to go and buy some more bean poles so that I can get the French beans in, so hopefully I'll be doing that tomorrow, but if I do I will let you know. Well, I hope you found what I've shown you useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.